Devil's Backbone American IPA.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got one here that I've had for absolutely ages, stuck in my fridge. It's still in date, I did check, but I've just not got round to drinking it. And I think today I'm running really low on stocks in the old fridge, so I've broken this one out. Now, you've probably seen this before. It's available in all the Witherspoons, or most of the Witherspoons, and it was also available in my local back in when I lived in London. That would have been around 2011, something like that. I do remember it being on there. I remember I tried it and I thought it was dog shit. So I'm going to revisit it. My palate may have adjusted in them amount of years, but I know that the brewery are an American brewery. Or were. Now here's the twist, right? Devil's Backbone started out in a place called Roseland in Virginia, and they were a craft brewer. And in 2016, so they've been going 8 years as a craft brewer, doing really good stuff. In 2016, they were bought out by AB InBev. Cue a load of fucking abuse from the American craft brew community. There's a video on YouTube. They actually, at one point, I don't know whether they still do it or not, but a lot of American craft brewers, they put a little label on the side of their can saying craft brewed or member of the craft brew guild or something like that. I can't remember. I should have actually researched that, but I do remember this video. And what happened was they interviewed all these I call them pseudo craft brewers because they've been taken over by the big brewing corporations like Miller, Coors, AB InBev, etc. And there was all their sort of heads of the shed was on there going, well, you know, we should be still called craft brew. We've still got that ethic, and you know, these big corporations don't have any influence on us, and all this blah blah blah. Absolute bullshit. It really is. Now, you know me. I don't give a fuck about the beer as long as it's good beer. But moving aside, if we separate the beer to the company, and if we're just talking about the company alone. If they're going to say that they're still craft brewers and they're going to be owned by AB InBev, same with, I think, Beavertown now have got a stake, or Heineken have got a stake in Beavertown. I think the Camden Brewery, I think, sold out to AB InBev as well. And it's, I mean, for the owners, it's like hitting the jackpot. You get to carry on what you're doing and you make yourself millionaires. Now, I'm not going to bash Brewdog in this, but I am. Because Brewdog done the same thing. They said fiercely independent. Well, they've got an outside company with a 22% sharehold in their company. All right, yeah, they retained the majority shareholders. Brewdog have had that big payout. And all these craft brewers have had their payout. Now, I'm not begrudging them that money. They've worked hard to get where they are. They've worked hard to get a big corporation like AB InBev, Heineken, etc. to become interested in their product. So much so that it's either they see them as a threat or they want to be in on the act. Either way, they've done their work. So you have to respect that. But to try and come back afterwards and say, oh yeah, you know, we haven't changed, we're still the same people we were. You're not, because if your lives or your livelihood depended on you making good beer, then I don't know, you just don't have that same sort of hunger and, you know, the threat. I like to call it the threat of the park bench if you go bust. You know, if the company did go bust, you've got that big payout, you could sell it off, you know. These little craft brewers, they don't have that. And COVID has proved that. They haven't got the backing of these big corporations, and a lot of them have gone bust or they're really struggling at the moment. So, you know, that sort of does rankle with me a little bit. But I'm going off topic here. I could potentially be going into a rant. I'm going to try and stop going into rants now. So let's investigate this beer. American IPA, brewed in the UK by Marston's. I didn't know AB InBev employed Marston's to brew beer for them, but obviously they do. So Marston's are brewing this, and do you know what? If it's anything like that shipyard stuff, I'm going to get the arsehole. As I say, I tried this, I think it was in 2011, or possibly even earlier, 2010, when I lived in London. In my local, they had it on draft for a while. I'm sure that must have been brewed under licence, but I didn't think much of it. And IPA was, or American IPA, the citrusy type IPA, was relatively new back then. I think Brewdog had just brought out Punk IPA, and this had sort of made its way over to our shores. How, I do not know. But that is by the by. Let's see what it is. Right, 5.2%, 48 on the IBU scale. It's a 500ml bottle. It says, you know, hey Englanders. I'm not going to read it out because it's green on white. I'm having trouble seeing it because it's fucking, the writing is so small, but I'm going to try anyway. It says, hey there Englanders, we wanted to send you a piece of home. Yeah, it's basically saying, oh, look at us, we brew citrusy IPAs, you know, here, we're giving this to you, you know, taste it, you can taste the real taste of America. Brewed by Marston's. That's about as American as my fucking arsehole. Oh, God. Yeah, Devil's Backbone. Great film. There's a good film called The Devil's... No, it's not a good film. It's a great film called The Devil's Backbone. It's a Spanish film directed by Guillermo del Toro. Really is a great film. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but I just urge you to go or hunt that film down. Excellent film. I think it must be nearly 20 years old. Still good now. If you like Pan's Labyrinth, this is on the similar sort of vein. Really good. Anyway, let's round the horses in and get this beer open. The camera just flipped and I've poured it out. I don't know why, I must have missed it, but I opened it up. The cap is plain black. I've poured it into a glass. There it is. I've not sniffed it at all. Does look dodgy. It could be on a par with that shipyard IPA. Do you remember that other fucking abomination that is brewed by Marston's? We're getting on notes. Oh God, that really doesn't smell nice. I'm just getting like a flowery, peachy type aroma. Yeah, just flowery. Smells like old lady's perfume. And I got this from Goose Island. It was the same hop, and I really can't put my finger on what the hop is, and also what the smell is. But it reminds me of old Wibbid's perfume. It's like a lavender type smell, and it ain't great, and it's very faint as well. Oh well, fuck it. Look, I'm just going to try it now. Wish me luck. Oh, it's bitter. Bitter hop. A bitter hop finish on that. And then there might be used. There's 48. That is sort of transcending the bitterness scale. So that does translate as well. This is more than chilled. It's just come straight out of the fridge, and for the length of time I've been talking, that's cooled it down a little bit. It's quite warm in here, but this really isn't that great, to be honest. It's like stewed leaves, stewed tea leaves, and a bitterness, like a grassy bitterness on it as well. It's definitely leaning over towards the West Coast style, going by the colour, the filtration as well. But This really isn't my thing. And it does, sadly, taste like a contract brewed Marston's beer. It's slightly better than the Shipyard, I will give you that. Shipyard was fucking rubbish, but it's not far off, believe me. It's got that horrible fucking perfumey smell. I got that in Goose Island. It's obviously, I don't know if it's a yeast strain or a hop that's giving it that flavour and aroma, but I ain't liking it. There's like a slightly biscuit malt finish on the end, or traces of it anyway, but it's just, that is just dominated by the stewed leaves, burnt caramel, just all round bitterness. I think this is this is reminding me of when I tried it first. I really didn't think much of it. In fact, I don't think I finished it. Yeah, and I remember I was talking to a fella in the pub. I used to go to school with him. He was telling me how he's seen the band The Fall. Remember The Fall? He's seen them over 50 times. And that was in 2010. And I don't know when Mark E. Smith died, but I'm sure he's seen them since then. But yeah, but he loved this stuff. He absolutely guzzled it like it was going out of fashion. I wasn't keen on it, and I'm still not keen now. If this is ice cold, you could probably finish it, but I just think, why do they bother? Why do they bother? Do you know what I mean? This is a typical AB InBev, pseudo craft brewed American beer. If you think Goose Island, Shipyard, you know, the fucking bottom of the market stuff, I don't like it. It's not my thing. Nah, not for me. So what's the verdict on Devil's Backbone American IPA? Well, it says something that they don't sell this in America. They sell this in the Witherspoons, and they sell Shipyard in the Witherspoons as well. And I like neither. And this is in keeping with, you know, when you see brands like this and Shipyard on tap in a Wetherspoons, you know it's been brewed in the UK. It wouldn't be cost effective to ship it all the way from America. But that's, you know, that's common sense anyway. Beers brewed under licence never taste the same as they do in their native homeland. You've got the water for starters, which has a big effect on the beer. You've got the local hops, etc, etc. The yeast strain may be the same, but you know, you just think, oh, well, why have you bothered? But the thing is, this isn't even available in America. They do a lot of beer, this lot, and they, you know, when they started off, they were a real proper craft brew, American craft brew company. But of course, you know, they sold their soul to AB InBev. Now, if you look at the video of them, you'll see how they're trying to justify what they do. But do you know what? If I had any integrity at all, I wouldn't put my name to a beer like this. It really isn't that good. I just wonder why they've done it. It's typical Marston's beer. Marston's contract brewed beer. It's almost like a supermarket pseudo craft range from a supermarket. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10. Can't give it any more. Not impressed. A 4 out of 10. I'm not going to recommend it. I think it's about 180. I think this came from Morrison's. My local Morrison's do it, and nah, it's not for me. It's not my style, really, to be honest. But this is a particular bad one. Don't be wrong. I've tried West Coast IPAs and they've not been too bad, but that one is not a good one. And remember, I'm drinking this shit, so you don't have to.